Hello and welcome to Keep On CyberTrucking, a podcast where three Cybertruck owners share their experiences and discuss all things electric vehicles as well as technology. We have Chase, we have Will. My name is Eric. How are you guys doing today? Well, we got a lot to dive into. I think the first thing that we want to do here is just kind of get some of these little things out of the way. There's there's a guy that I found that went to Tesla, wanted to sell his Cybertruck. He had some issues with towing his trailer and decided that the Cybertruck couldn't do the job and he wanted them to buy it back. They essentially told him, no, thank you. And you do not meet the requirements for us to buy it back, nor for you to sell it. So pretty much telling him he is stuck with the Cybertruck and he's saying, no, I'm going to sell it anyways. And he even goes on to say, I guess I'll be going to cyber jail. So how do you guys feel about something like this? You know, someone who's in a predicament going, I bought this truck, it's not really doing what I need it to do, and they're kind of stuck.
I think it was one of those things that I think that we've talked about since the beginning when we first heard about the purchase agreement having that language about limiting resale. And I think that since the beginning, I've been skeptical about the enforcement of it because, if it's a situation like the Ford GT, I think with John Cena, where he wanted to get rid of it and wasn't supposed to. I mean, I haven't looked at the numbers, but I mean, I imagine that that's such a low manufacturing volume vehicle. I mean, it's like in the hundreds probably. Like that's it. That's all that they made, maybe. And so the notion that we're sitting at, like, I think that people are talking about getting their VIN numbers of like in the 9,000s and quickly approaching that 10,000, that five digit VIN number. Um, I mean, I think they're kind of doubly at that point where it's like, how do you enforce something like that? Because you've got people who bought something that, some people just turn it over. They're not trying to scalp it. That the market price is the market price.
Mm-hmm.
They're just trying to offload it. And
Mm-hmm.
so and when there's 10,000 of them on the road and there are parking lots full of them just sitting there waiting to get delivered, there's a part of me that's kind of like, okay, I don't know why you're choosing this fight because I mean, somebody's allowed to sell their car. And if you guys do believe that you have as much demand as you do, what's stopping you from letting them sell it on? You don't want somebody to keep a car they don't like talking to everybody about how much they hate it versus selling it on to somebody who's going to enjoy it and keep talking up the brand.
Yeah, we are talking about like how, longer this goes and the longer we haven't heard about any kind of backlash or enforcement done, it just kind of raises more questions because the more trucks on the road, the less of an issue I think it'll be for people to resell. But like I said, until we see Tesla do something about it, we don't really know. I mean, we only have the one story of the guy getting banned, but we haven't heard anything since. Um,
Yeah, there hasn't been any talk of somebody actually legally getting in trouble, right? And Tesla enforcing any type of legal action against somebody.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was interesting. Feel bad for that guy. I don't
It's
think.
funny because I remember back in like November or December when they first started poking into the language of it, they're like, it's a $50,000 fine or something that Tesla will seek or try to seek to arbitrate from you. And it's like, I mean, that's a fair amount of teeth. You're basically saying we're going to go after you for literally half the price of the car. And to this date, we've seen so many cars on Cars and Bids get sold on, but we have never heard of anybody in
Mm-hmm.
any way, even letting it slip by accident, being like, yeah, Tesla contacted me and said you weren't supposed to do that. Please respond to the letter from our legal. So, I mean, I
Exactly.
I feel like they're past that prime. If they thought they were only going to manufacture 10,000 total for the whole year, I can understand why they're going to be like, no, 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 we did this in a specific way. But I mean, if they've already got people trying to resell them and doing so successfully, and meanwhile loads of trucks just sitting in parking lots, I can't imagine anybody is going to be looking at it from a court being like, now how is Tesla harmed by this? Because you guys are selling plenty of these trucks, you got plenty more to sell. So why can't this guy just sell it on? He's not intentionally trying to scalp it. And the way that the
Exactly.
scalping works is that eventually it levels itself out. All the people willing to pay extra will pay extra, and then eventually they're done, you know?
Well, you made a good point about Cybertrucks sitting on lots, and I know we've talked about that in the past, but I came across this where in Chicago there's
Ooh.
roughly 200 or so Cybertrucks just sitting on a lot and that video doesn't really show 200, but supposedly the gentleman that went there says that there's about 200 sitting on a lot out there.
Yeah.
And I mean, right there, that alone, I mean, there's quite a bit, whether it's 200 or not, but there's quite a bit of Cybertrucks, and we've seen that, right? I know, Will,
Yeah.
you've driven by the Upland location many times, and you've said that there's plenty just sitting there, and
Yeah, like
I'm sure
several
they're all
dozen.
waiting for delivery, but it's just, they have plenty of Cybertrucks waiting to be delivered, and so I'm not sure Tesla wants to take any back when they're trying
Yeah.
to sell them. I don't think they're trying to buy them. So
So I mean, let's logically walk it through. I mean, if they've got this many sitting on a lot, if they're waiting on delivery, it's like, okay, but at a certain point, I'm like, are they waiting on delivery though? Because I mean, you're going to tell me that they're what's holding them from delivering these vehicles that I'm looking at in that photo? Like, is there, like we saw that one photo of the one vehicle that obviously had a major problem with the high voltage battery and needed to be repaired.
mhm.
And it was on a lot just sitting there just like that. But eventually I'm just gonna, I want to ask the question, being like, okay, so why aren't they selling, or why aren't you selling them? It's got to be one of those two questions. And at some point, you'd think that somebody would be like, yeah, why are there so many freaking trucks just sitting on lots right now?
Waiting on rivets.
Maybe, jeez, I hope not.
Which that's something. I did get my rivet last week. So I'm now no longer OG pre-rivet
Oh yeah.
Cybertruck for my
well,
pedal.
well, I know I shared with you guys in our chat over the weekend, but for the viewers, I went out on Saturday to celebrate Mother's Day with my wife to beat the craziness of actual Sunday Mother's Day. And we went to a restaurant, got valet, and the valet driver, in a serious tone, asked me if I had the accelerator pedal fixed because he knew about the recall. So, uh, it's funny and it's interesting. So at least Chase, you can go to valet safely and no one's going to bother you or harass you about your accelerator. So
Yeah.
congratulations.
The valet is. I'll stand by it. If the valet is like slamming his foot on the floor, like there's other issues.
Yeah,
Big issues,
exactly.
yeah.
So I mean, yeah.
Exactly. Well, we have Jay in chat. He's saying good evening. So hello, Jay. We're
What's up,
excited that
Jay?
you're here. He's here every week. And speaking of Jay, I wanted to get into something that he actually brought to my attention, and I hope Jay is perfectly fine with me sharing this.
What if he's
Jay,
not? He's sitting there like, no, don't show it.
Jay was in a little fender bender where his bumper needed to be replaced, and he shared with me the damage, photos of the damage, as well as what the costs were. So it's not a big deal. Like I said, it was a small little fender bender. But what was interesting, and something that I think the point of him sharing, was the fact that this repair cost him $637.50. And I think with any other vehicle that had a painted bumper, uh, that cost would be a lot more. So
Yeah.
True. Yeah, especially every repaint alone is like a couple grand right there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look right now, but I'm pretty sure that bumper is actually on. Yeah, it is. Or bumper protectors is on
Yeah, it's a
the
bumper cover,
website.
I
it's
think.
it's the bumper cover, yeah. It's like the
Yeah.
edge protectors, but I think
Oh,
that's
the
more. I
edge.
think
That's
that's more
different.
for if you're stepping on the bumper and you don't want it to
Yeah.
get scratched or scraped. But I mean, for you to get a replacement bumper, and all in with labor and everything, $638. Once again, I know that my damage to my Cybertruck when I got sideswiped was less than 1,000. This is less than $700. It's just kind of going back into that, the Cybertruck, the way it's built, is going to cost you less in repairs if and when, and hopefully never, but if and when you ever
Yeah.
get into a situation, you're saving money there because of the way it's built. So,
And from the
Modular
Tesla
design.
standpoint, yeah, the manufacturing is probably much more simple. It's like all the plastic trim is just natural, just natty black. So it's like there's nothing additional to wait on to paint, or paint got scraped and you got to repix it. You just literally swap it to put a new one in.
Exactly. And he went in chat and said it was okay for me to share, so we're all good. He did confirm that they replaced the whole bumper. So $637.50 for a whole new bumper. I mean, I think that's
with labor. Yeah, that's
with labor. Now, that's not always the case for people. Unfortunately, there was somebody out there that was in a bigger accident.
Oof.
And they got T-boned. They say that driver and passengers were safe, so that's obviously the number one thing. But this was, I think, the worst accident so far that we've seen documented. Correct?
So far, yeah. And what's interesting is when that image right there is actually the first one I saw that started circulating around, and there's a lot of speculation. They're like, "What the hell even hit that?" Like, it was almost kind of underwhelming to see the car that hit it that did that damage. It's kind of impressive on, I guess, Hyundai's part. I don't know. I can't tell what kind of car that is.
Yeah, I can't tell either.
But yeah, mainly that hole that it ripped. It's really really interesting.
The hole right here is interesting.
Is that a hole or is that a part of the other car?
Oh,
embedded?
You might be right. I think you're right. Yeah.
I think it looks like it's
fused
embedded
into it.
Oh, that's
yeah.
It looks like the metal bit it from
Yep.
both sides and held it.
Okay. All right.
It pinched it. It pinched
Yeah,
it and
yeah, yeah,
held it. Yeah, you're right. And what's funny is in this thread, I think, and let me see if I can find it. Somebody mentions it as a hole.
Yeah, it looks like a hole when I first saw it.
I can't find it, of course. But anyways,
that's cool.
Yeah, so I was thinking it was a hole as well. But yeah, now that I'm looking at it, Will, this is why you're the guy. Yeah, it's a part of their bumper. It looks like.
Okay.
Yeah.
That got pinched in there,
and you can see the curtain, the airbags deployed from the sides, so that's good.
And if you look at the glass here, it shattered, but it stayed in. Yeah, it stayed in. Stay together, so to speak.
I'm pretty sure that the glass is like laminated, like multiple layers fused together.
That's what it's looking like.
Whenever you see the window goes down, I'm nearly positive that they're bonded, and it's just like that's part of that rugged glass that they advertise.
Yeah, that's a hell of a T-bone.
Yeah, that is. I'd be interested to see. I mean, to me, it looks like a total, right? But I mean, these things. I mean, it's
so. Yeah, I'm curious. I mean, obviously, I would love to see them pull those doors off, because I want to see if the frame, which is just beneath,
that's what I'm wondering.
Just in there. I'm wondering if it's bent, because you look at the line of I guess the rocker or whatever, the panel, the bottom
what I was going to bring up. Yep.
It doesn't look curved. It doesn't look too damaged or anything. So
that's what I'm saying. I mean, if you look at it,
doors just take all the damage.
Yeah, it looks like the doors. Yeah. Obviously, the windows took a lot of the damage, but I mean, even look at the pillars. Pillars look like there's really nothing going on there. Yeah. The rocker panels, it's not, pushed in.
I mean, the doors are bent, but then look right behind the doors in the back section as it leads into the vault. All of that's still like pristine. Like none of it got contorted in the impact or anything. That's impressive.
I think this picture right here showing it up on the tow truck. I mean, take your eyes off those doors. I look at the rear quarter panel, it looks fine. Look at the front quarter panel, it looks fine. It's just the doors. I'm just curious. I mean, to me, it looks like it's going to be a total, but I don't know. I'd be curious to find out. So
not going to be $600 and some to fix, but it'll be there. Well, I mean, it's kind of funny about that. Just to bring it back up, that it's more expensive to replace the glass than it is the bumper. Like the glass, we said it was like $2,600 to replace that front piece, and then $1,900 to replace the top glass. So,
we have Hugo in chat. So hello, Hugo.
What up, Hugo?
We also have Bradford 9387 in chat saying hello. So hello to you, Bradford 9387. So we have some people, our regulars are hopping in. So thank you guys for
Nice.
tuning in. Next thing I wanted to get into was something that is, I have a lot of things that I get frustrated with the Cybertruck, and I don't understand why they didn't do certain things. But somebody came up with a solution for one of my issues, and that is the lack of a screen in the rearview mirror. They went ahead and installed one themselves,
There you
and they
go.
put a little camera back there underneath by the hitch receiver, and they show you how they ran the wiring. They say it's pretty simple and easy to do that, and now they have a proper screen in the rearview mirror. So
That's wild. That's fantastic.
yeah,
And
I
it's mounted too.
what I'm hoping for is for somebody to come out with a mirror like this, but instead of having wires, it's just wireless.
Yeah.
I think that, or even more so, somebody figuring out how to tap into the existing camera on the Cybertruck and
Yeah.
being able to transmit that to the screen.
It's interesting. I wouldn't have put it on the tailgate. I would have actually put it up close to that rear window for when the tonneau cover is open.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's really needed. Like you're saying, like a tow camera.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I know that there's screens out there that you can hook up multiple cameras. So hopefully someone's able to do that as well. Because at work, we have a big box truck that we use, and that has 3 cameras hooked up to and it has a camera, or a screen like this in the rearview mirror. And obviously you can't see behind you. So the mirror isn't meant for actually a mirror. It's meant for the screen, and there's 3 cameras. So I'm hoping someone does something like that as well, and helps people like me out. That everyone yells at me in my comments on my YouTube channel about just remove the mirror. Who cares? But my argument is I paid $100,000 for this car. I should have a little
Want the
a
damn
little
mirror.
screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all right, now we're going to dive into some of the nitty gritty, I think, here. So over the past week, there was another firing. Or actually, was he fired or did he leave? I
I
don't
think he
remember.
left, but
Yeah,
it was unclear like why. I think it was just a
that's what it
departure.
was. Yeah, they don't know if what happened, but another head of a department is gone from Tesla. So, what do you guys think about this?
This might actually turn into the DeLorean. I think you might be right there, Will.
Oh God, I hope not. I
Maybe
mean,
no. I don't think we'll get to there, but it's definitely raising a lot of questions. Because you
yeah,
have this press along with the other press, and it doesn't look great.
yeah. I mean, I'm looking at that electric article, and yeah, it's I mean, it's a lot of it's everybody asking questions. Obviously, I think that when the head of Supercharging last week was fired, along with the whole department, there was a little bit more. Okay, why'd that happen? And the rumors came out of, oh well, Elon wanted deep cuts, and Rebecca Tanucci only offered like up to 20% cuts, and then he was frustrated. Elon was frustrated, so he just like cut the whole department. So now it's like, okay, so the head of Cybertruck manufacturing, the thing that's their new flagship that's out there, they're trying to get off the ground, and the head of that departs, but it's not even being addressed. I mean, it just seems like there's a lot of things going on, and I know that there's a lot going on with the compensation package. So stock price is of a concern, trimming for efficiency is of a concern, but I mean this one seems like this one should be a lot of headlines and discussion, right? Like this is the thing that people have been waiting for the last 4 years, and the head of the manufacturing in the middle of a ramp, in the middle of them trying to reach volume. It's just odd. I don't know.
Yeah, you would think that them hitting or supposedly hitting that 1,000 per week number with production, they seemed really excited about that. So you would think like everything's going really well, the team is crushing it. We're on pace to hit, because I think they want to do what, 5,000 by the end of the year per
Yeah.
week. if you're hitting your goals, or maybe you're even ahead of schedule, you would think that you'd keep that team intact, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to be the case.
Or
So
try to at least executive level talent that have been holding things together this far. I mean, isn't this a critical moment in the ramp where you want people to stay consistent on the things that you're still working out? Supercharging, I feel like they're at a crossroads where they could go any number of directions. Lean into contractors, hand over the whole business to somebody else to manage, spin off a whole other business unit, just call it like Tesla Charging, and make it a whole side company or whatever. It seems like there's so many options to it, but at this critical moment, 5 months into the real rollout of this vehicle, it just doesn't seem like it would be the time for somebody to depart like that, unless there's just other stuff going on, which it seems like there's something new going on every week over at Tesla.
there's definitely something going on. I mean, I
Yeah.
think it's pretty clear that it's a little chaotic over there.
Yeah. I mean, obviously manufacturing isn't as much of a problem because they got them sitting on parking lots just waiting for somebody to come and buy it. So, okay, so maybe it isn't as critical of a position as we would think, or we're rationalizing it to be. It's another one of those things where like answers would be great.
Yep, 100%. I don't know. It's odd. It's odd, and it's a little concerning because as Cybertruck owners, you're just kind of sitting there going, "What's going on?"
Yeah. Well, it's like, I mean, we all collectively want to share how much we enjoy this new beast of a truck with everybody, and everybody who's considering getting one to be like, yeah, you know what, I want one. Yeah, let's talk to these guys. Let's find out what they like about it. And just seeing this going on, it just adds another thing that I have to answer when I hang out with people, and they're like, so Cybertruck, your pedal fall off? Is it rusting yet?
Yeah, just
Is your head of manufacturing going to stick around? Are they even going to make it by next year? And it's like,
don't
don't
go
know,
to
man.
Valet. Those guys got a lot of questions.
Yeah.
They've broken a lot of pedals in their day, apparently. But
Oh man.
I think I said it last week too. Like, I am curious, like the Rust Gate, the Pedal Gate, and all these like bigger controversies get spread around a lot. But I'm curious about how much of that news gets spread about like the inner workings of Tesla. Like how much spread does that really have or how much of an effect does that have in
Yeah,
I think
comparison
that
to like the other ones?
there's like one article from last week, I think, on electric, or electrics, which I know a lot of the Tesla enthusiasts are like electric boo. But I mean, they have been accurate about a couple of things lately, especially the supercharging team getting fired. But yeah, and they were talking about low morale at the office right now. So I mean, I think that I'm going to be really disappointed. I'll say it point blank. I'm going to be really disappointed if a lot of this turmoil is because Elon's looking for ways to kind of firm up his opportunity to clinch that compensation package that he feels he was owed. And if the turmoil that he's putting everybody through is linked to that, I'm going to be really disappointed. I mean, I feel like it probably is, so I'm preparing myself to be disappointed. But it's just one of those things where it's like, man, why did it have to come to this? Like, there's so much money at play. You
yeah.
guys could have so much stronger of a company right now, so much stronger of a posture in this market. And for some reason, it looks like you look like a drowning person, like trying to just push everybody under to try and push yourself to the top.
It definitely feels like a self-implode situation, right?
Something, right?
You hear at the beginning of the year, Rivian struggling, right? Who's probably their biggest competitor from a market share standpoint, because
Yeah.
especially with GM having some issues and pulling back a little bit, Ford having some issues, pulling back a little bit, news from other manufacturers not really wanting to jump into the EV space as heavily as maybe they were thinking initially.
Yeah.
Tesla really had that stronghold, which they've had, but they could have really separated themselves even that much more with the launch of a truck, and I know it's polarizing, but still you're in that truck space now, and you're really gonna, trucks being the number one selling vehicle or type of vehicles in North America, you're getting into that space, and you can really get that stronghold, and then you're self-imploding.
Yeah.
Or I mean, it seems like they're self-imploding. Maybe there's this master plan, behind everything, but I don't understand it. So
I'll say this. I mean, most of my experience for the last 20 years has been working in and watching the the film and entertainment industry. And this kind of a situation reminds me of the few times where it's like I have seen some movies that absolutely were astonishing. They were amazing. They were movies that should be in everybody's minds and on their home theater eventually. They're just good, important movies. But there are instances where the studios didn't give them the proper support that they deserve, like the advertising, the press runs, all those kind of things. And you got this weird feeling where you're like, did they not have confidence in it? Okay, maybe I don't have confidence in it. Even though anybody who looks at it, they were like, this is a fantastic product, this is an amazing movie or whatever. And I'm really, really going to be annoyed if this whole thing is like Tesla kind of undermining their own baby for whatever reason, if it's convenient, if it's market factors, whatever. But the silence from Tesla continues to be deafening. And I think that there's all of this turmoil going on mixed with all of these unanswered questions, all of this lack of clarity. Like, look the public in the eye and tell them what you built and let them want it. And if they're going to. And it just doesn't seem like they've been doing that. And I'm like, why not? It's so cool. Kids, stop to shout at my car. I've never driven a car that had the command of every elementary school letting out that I drive by. And yet it's astonishing. And yet, it's like I can't really think of hardly anything that Tesla's done that really kind of fights for hearts and minds, really kind of puts their visibility out there.
Well, you're scaring me a little bit, Will. You're talking about how many elementary schools you're driving by. Why are you driving by so many elementary schools? What are you
Residential
doing
neighborhoods, man. You just got to go
be
by.
so many feet away. No, I'm
ahead,
kind of
Chase.
curious too to see if because I think a lot of people kind of expected interest rates to maybe like come back down like by now.
Yeah.
And I think we're just now seeing like those effects. Like even in our industry in gaming, it's happening like for sure this last year. Tons of studios have closed down, people getting laid off. Like it's really just because when interest rates were super low, especially during like the COVID era, like people were hiring up like crazy, and then they kind of like bloated up too big. And then now when they don't have access to capital like they used to, then they're just having to like cut. That's all they can do to basically survive. And I think we're just seeing this delayed because if I was sitting in Elon's shoes, I think I would want to make sure that the launch of the CyberTrucks started and was underway, and then let the cuts happen. Like I'm pretty sure that they've probably been like running thin for a while, at least in the last year, with like set interest rates. But now's the time they're like, okay, we've got production running, it's ramped up, now we can do the cut, which seems counterintuitive because it's like, why would you cut the people right as you're ramping up? But I think it's just it's funding.
Well, speaking about interest rates, the Tesla launched the less than 1% financing interest rate on the Model Y. So I think they're trying to incentivize and get people excited and out there buying cars again.
Yeah, I mean, the Model Y is like their best-selling vehicle in their lineup and like one of the best-selling vehicles around the world. So, I mean, it definitely if they're gonna take on a loss leader and try to buy down the interest rate as far as you, the consumer, is concerned, then I mean, it would make sense that they would do it on the Y.
Or
100%.
they're offloading the Model Ys they have right now before they revamp the Model Y like they did with the Model 3.
Yeah, that's right.
I do
I've
agree
been seeing
with that.
some rumors talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think they even pushed the Model Y refresh, or at least the rumors were that it was supposed to come out, I believe, this year sometime, and I think they pushed it to 2025. And that could be also what Chase is saying. I agree with you, Chase. I think they're looking at it going, we need to get rid of our inventory, or even just parts that they have in excess at the factory, that they need to produce these cars, so they need people to buy them, get rid of the inventory, so then now we can launch the refresh on the Model Y. So
the one thing I didn't like about that, because there was one detail that they were advertising that it gets down to like it was like $350 a month or something, but they were calculating in the savings. Like they basically took the $7,500 tax credit and like stretched it out over the course of a year and be like, if you count that into each of your monthly payments, then you're actually only paying this. I don't know. I hate when they do
That
that because it's, you're inflating the number.
Yeah.
Just give us the real number.
here you go. I jumped back
Yeah.
into it right here. How it says 0.99% APR financing for new Model Y if ordered by May 31st starts at less than $32,000 after federal tax credit and estimated gas savings.
Estimated gas savings. That's the other one too. Sorry. Good. Thanks for the reminder. That one is the other one. It's like, okay, yeah, estimated gas savings in Texas can be completely different than you guys. What was gas today? I don't know if you saw. Like
Yeah,
5 what? When it's like 3 out here.
yeah. I think Will, you have all EVs, right? So Will doesn't
Yeah,
even know what
I
a gas station is anymore.
well, I mean, for me, a gas station is just Taco Bell, but that otherwise,
It's a convenience store.
It's
yeah,
it's your Popeyes, right?
it's
Popeyes
whatever
are
makes
always.
me get that gurgle later and be like, all right, gotta find home.
But getting into some of we're talking about layoffs and all that. Let's also get into the fact that Tesla has rehired some of the Supercharger workers after they let them go.
Yeah,
So there's they've hired on some of those people. I know that you had some thoughts on that, Will.
just returning the team. I can't remember what I thought I had mentioned it before with Rebecca.
Yes.
They might outsource as a possibility.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that it's a complete. I remember back years ago, Tesla had Elon, back when he was a little bit less crazy. He had said something along the effect of that the supercharging network was never designed or intended to be a profit center for Tesla. It was intended to support the vehicles and the whole, like, no one's going to buy Tesla cars if they can't do the things that cars do, which include road trips, shorter, slightly longer term haul, or whatever you're doing with it. And so the supercharger rollout was always done with and advertised as such as being this. Okay, look, it's going to basically be the price of local power, maybe with some surge pricing at certain times of the day per time of use rules. But otherwise, the superchargers were meant to not really be a profit center. They were meant to just be a way to keep driving the car that you bought from them, and that's it. Otherwise, there's nowhere else to charge them. And so the idea that now that they're at like 15,000 superchargers and they're continuing to expand more, part of me does kind of think it's like, okay, well, I mean, there's no secret sauce to this anymore. I mean, other companies have 800-volt charging or 400-volt charging. They've got all of this. It's out there. There's competition. So now it would kind of make sense for them to maybe hand the keys over to another company whose full-time job will be to make supercharging into something more, and maybe even add back in some value to that money, because I mean, supercharging prices are like the peak prices for most places all the time. And
Yeah.
so I just wonder if it could be beneficial to Tesla to let them just kind of, okay, this was successful here, you guys go deal with it now. Because I mean, it's supercharging. There's no secret sauce to it. It's not using anything so advanced that it couldn't just be its own successful business unit that supports Tesla and other automakers now too, like Rivian and all the other ones that'll have NACS and supercharging access.
Exactly. Well, I wanted to also get into. I just wanted to kind of get to the fun lock sound that I think we have some opinions on. But let's go ahead and share this. I hope this isn't too loud, but
What? Is that a train?
I coined this. I actually put it up on Twitter X today. Like I'm coining this the cyber fart because it doesn't sound like anything else I could think of. Um, I don't hate it. I don't like it. I just think the biggest thing is that they pushed out the spring update, which came with the new lock sound, but it also made this incredibly louder.
yes, it
Like
did.
it is like 3 to 4 times louder than it used to be. To the point where like I used a custom lock sound. I had like the Mario death like sound, like whatever. And then
Yeah.
it was okay before the update, and then after the update, now it's like to the point where like I turned it off because I didn't want to bother my neighbors because it was that loud. Like you could definitely hear it throughout the neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's hilarious in certain situations of like, oh, I want to go park and then make someone laugh. So that's good in that sense. But for a day-to-day thing, it's not like not something I want. And give us a volume. They have a volume for the light show. You can adjust the light show volume. Why not the lock sound?
Well, our buddy Jay was in chat a little while ago, and he wanted us to talk about this, but we already had it on our schedule. And he mentions that he actually had to turn his off because he was afraid he was going to get his neighbors upset because I guess he leaves really early in the mornings or late at night, and
Oh wow.
he feels bad. And he has his set at the duck quack, just like me. So at my job, my day-to-day job, where I park very close to the front door to the building. So sometimes when I'm walking in and it's as soon as I'm getting to that door, that thing literally it jump scares me. I will, even though I know it's coming, it's that loud. So, and then it's that quack, and then I always look back because it scares me. And then I see other people in the parking lot kind of looking over like, the heck is going on over there? But
sir, your car is quacking.
My son the other day heard it for the first time, and he goes, "What is that? What's that noise?" I go, "It's just the car. It's locking itself." Another thing that I wanted to just kind of share real quick is something that Chase found, just a cool little accessory, which is the flag mount for the L-Track.
Hey.
So
that's a great idea. I'm hoping we see more accessories for the L-Tracks because that's a really great kind of feature. And yeah, if you want to pop open
Bottle
some
opener
flags,
is pretty clutch. I'll give it that.
Mm-hmm. So this is yeah, I agree with you, Chase. I think just people utilizing and taking advantage of that L-Track and creating some cool accessories for us to kind of just accessorize our cars. So
yeah, could be a little cheaper, but because I think they have some that are ready to go. Like if you hit the down selection, like if you want it right away, you can get a pair of them for $400 or deliver in June for just one of them. But I get it. It's fine.
Wow.
To each their own.
I like how they go foundation series. So everyone's taking advantage of this foundation series markup.
Yeah.
When you're getting the foundation series limited edition prototypes, they'll get delivered ASAP. So if you want it now, like all us foundation series buyers, you're going to pay a premium, but that's okay because it's foundation series. So
I would have paid a premium if I could get my light bar right away, but that's another story.
Even when I find you a light bar, Chase, they still can't get it to you.
I ordered it the day
I know
you showed me. Like we're still waiting on it. I guess the estimate is June, because who knows where they're getting it from, or whatever. So we'll see. We'll see when we get it. But I'm excited for it nonetheless because I think light bar on top is an added. I feel like it should have been standard for both the Cybertruck and the Cyber Beast, but
the light bar is super cool. But I will say that the car's ability to withstand 9mm gunfire and my ability to put a flag on my truck are not driving factors for which vehicle I purchase or why.
That was before we got the truck. My wife was like most concerned about people shooting us. They're like, they're gonna try to test to see if it's bulletproof.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I get the point. It's a valid concern, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
To be fair, that's how people in Texas greet each other anyway. They just start shooting at each other. So anyway,
they just start shooting at each other.
I am also tempted to get some cyber nuts. I don't know if you've seen those.
I did see those.
I was gonna 3D print them.
Yes.
I don't have it queued up, unfortunately, but yes, I have seen those. I've seen those.
When I get some, we'll make it.
There you go. There you go. I wanted to talk about some more news. If this will, there we go. So apparently, only 2% of full self-driving trial users ended up actually buying the FSD. I don't think that was a great conversion rate, but I'm not sure what they were looking for. But yeah, 2% doesn't sound like it really worked out for them.
Yeah, that's a tough. Well, I want to say it's a tough sell because it's giving them something they weren't using already, and it's like, well, why do I need it, kind of thing.
I
But
think
I'm curious, what 2% of
yeah,
what?
well, 2% of the people that they gave the trial to didn't convert that into actually going through with the purchase and buying it. But I think what you were kind of saying is, and I do agree with you, that I think for those who really want FSD, they've probably already bought it.
Yeah.
Right? When they bought their car initially or at some point later and they thought about it and said, you know what, I want this. They've already bought it. So the people that were taking advantage of the trial were probably people that just, oh, you're giving it to me free, I'm going to use it. I have no intent of actually buying this because I had an opportunity to buy this every day prior to you giving this to me for free and I haven't done it. So something I'm
Interesting.
not really interested in.
I
Wait.
think that Tesla, I think that they're at a critical point of EV adoption. Of they already had all the tech people, they already had all the luxury brand people. Now they just are getting just people who are buying a car, and they're coming around to the idea. Oh, I could charge it at home. That sounds lovely. Oh, and the car feels so good and quick. I like it. Oh, yay!
Yeah.
They're just looking for a car. And so when you tell them, hey, there's a full self-driving thing, somebody's going to be, the person who doesn't know a lot and they don't have time or the awareness to research all this stuff. They're going to be sitting there being like, does it really self-drive? Like it'll drive me all the way. And you're, well, no, it does this. It has a lot of limitations. And the more you keep talking, and this is just my background in technology and computers, the more you keep talking about what's possible with it, the less interested they are. They're like, all right, well, it doesn't do it now, so I don't really know. I mean, that sounds cool, but whatever. So I just think that what they're putting into people's hands, what that trial did, wasn't mind blowing enough, especially considering how many years Tesla has talked up the inevitability of their level 5, of their autonomy approach, of the Tesla vision approach. Oh, by the end of the year, there's going to be robo taxis. On the end of the year, there's going to be this. I think that you've got a lot of people who are like, okay, so they've been promising this stuff for a while now, and it doesn't seem to be getting any really substantially closer. So, I mean, thank you for the trial, but I'm going to wait until I can get in the car and tell it to drive me to work, and it drives me to work the whole way.
So I playing devil's advocate, going down in the article, um, I just noticed that they were using Yipit data, where they access credit card data from about 3,500 Tesla owners who participated in the trial,
Mhm.
and this is where they're gaining their 50 actually bought or subscribed to the FSD after the trial.
Mhm.
But I feel like that sample size is way small compared to what they actually rolled out. That's not like there's no way they only rolled out to only
Oh yeah.
3,500
At first
trial
view,
users.
I really feel like it's probably a biased sample. It's
Yeah,
probably what the data was that they could get, as opposed to doing like truly randomized information coming in that to accurately to forecast the population. So yeah, I mean, and I think that even Elon was on X spelling the myth that it was only a 2% take rate. But I don't think that it's got as much communication out there being like, okay, it wasn't 2%. How much was it? What
right.
is the number? What are the numbers? What's the interest? What's the sentiment? All these trial users, I'm like, are they overwhelmingly positive about it? Are they overwhelmingly like, it was cool, just not worth $6,000 or 8,000 or whatever? Or were they just like, I would never turn that on the way it is. I tried using it twice, and I gotta pay for a new wheel because it rashed the curb or something like that. So
Right.
I just
But I
think that
think
there's a
you're
lot
right.
more information. But yeah, that 2% number just seems like it's like, okay, but like, do you really know that? Or is it just an interesting number that gets clicks as opposed to ports information?
Right.
It gets three knuckleheads on a podcast to talk about it.
Hey,
But Will, you made a good point, and I when you made that point, it really kind of hit me, and I go, wouldn't doubt that that's a big reason. And the point was the fact that, once again, what we were talking about earlier about how Tesla advertises the Model Y as a $32,000 vehicle, right? And the reason why they're doing that is they're trying to get some of those people that are looking for a $30,000-$40,000 vehicle to buy in to Tesla as opposed to maybe a Honda or Toyota or something like that, right? And when you're offering full self-driving at, even at $100 per month, I mean, that's substantial. I think Chase mentioned that they're saying it's like a $3 car payment. Well, now you're adding $100 to that, right? $450. That breaks a lot of people's budget, or if you're sitting there going, well, if you don't want to do the monthly payment here, you could buy it for $8,000. Well, I don't want to spend $8,000. That's a third of the cost of the car.
Yeah.
And I think that might be the bigger hurdle than it is actually the software, because full self-driving, for any of us who've used it, is it perfect? No. But does it work really well? Yeah, I think so. I
It
think
does.
it's a great feature to have. And it's something that us Cybertruck owners are salivating at, the idea of getting it at some point soon. And so but that's also because we've already bought it, right? And so we've already bought it with the Foundation series. And so as soon as they release it, we're going to jump all over it. And there's going to be videos all over the internet of Cybertruck owners using it. So I think it's more so and I think Chase said, the people that have already, actually it was Will that said, you know what, the people that have full self-driving are, the luxury owners, the people that are buying it for the luxury vehicle, the people that are buying it for this and that. And I think the people that are more budget conscious, they're not interested in it because it's could potentially break the budget, or they don't want to spend that money.
Or like you had said, like they obviously they tried it, they're impressed by it, eyebrows up, but at the end of the day, they're like, okay,
It
but
can't
it's
fit it in the
not
budget.
doing the thing that I think it should do when it's described to me. Like, and nobody seems to be able to tell for certain when it will do that. It's just hey, you got to buy it and pray, and that's when they can easily turn to all of the wealth of people out there who bought FSD in the past, and we're all like, yeah, we bought it, and we're on the same beta as you.
Yeah.
It makes more sense that I think it's more like 98% of Tesla owners already paid ahead of time for full self-driving. They paid the price, and they're just like, there's no reason to switch over. But I do think this is probably a move that I didn't think about when we had initially heard about the monthly charge for full self-driving. I feel like that's a selling point not for current Tesla owners, but future Tesla buyers that are getting into a $32,000 Model Y, and they're like, oh yeah, you can either pre-purchase now, or it's $100 a month.
Yeah.
And most people are just gonna be like, yeah, I'll just go $100,000 or $100 a month.
Yeah. Well,
yes, exactly.
if the Cybertruck if the Foundation series didn't force me to get it, that's the route I would have went. I would have bought the Cybertruck, and I know there's people that I know personally that have Teslas, and what they do is they go, especially in the summertime when they do road trips and whatnot, they'll buy in on the monthly price and the monthly subscription for full self-driving. They use it for the month or 2 months or even 3 months that they're traveling and they're doing these road trips. It's worth it to them. And then come, when they're not traveling anymore, they cancel it, and, it makes sense for them.
It's what I did with Sirius XM satellite radio before streaming was so readily available.
Exactly.
If I would be like, I got a road trip coming up, if I don't know if it's still this way, but it was like maybe like 10 years ago, you could just call them and be like, hey, I got a promo in the mail. I don't remember the code. They're like, no problem. Here's a free month. I'm like, cool,
we'll
thanks.
hit you up.
We gotcha.
Okay, so now it's not the tip of the day or just the tip with Will. It's just the tip with the Chase now.
All right.
So
just the tip with Chase and Will.
Yeah, there you go. So speaking of that, Will, our new segment, weekly segment of Just the Tip with Will, where he puts tips and advice, also random celebrity
just
insights.
Utterly prurient fall of Western civilization information, I guess.
Yes, the mics are all yours.
I was just gonna. I remember we talked about the Cybertruck last week with Kim Kardashian, and I feel I feel confident in saying that there is absolutely zero chance that Kim put down a deposit on the Cybertruck ever. So the fact that she has one is telling to me. And I guess that there's more rumors going around that that Kim literally only has a Cybertruck because she's a celebrity, and that certain executives at Tesla were like, here, you know, if you could just drive this and see and be seen in it, then that's good enough for us. And I mean, part of me is like, yeah, you know what? Tesla does loaners. They do high visibility stuff like that all the time. I'm like, I mean, I don't see a problem with it, especially if there's parking lots full of them. I'm like, all right, if Kim will drive it, then go for it. But very, very, very peculiar.
Because I saw Kim.
Oh, well, there you go.
So
And
that
it was before we saw the pictures. I knew that she was going to drive it, and I'm like, yes, I gotta have
You're
that.
like, oh my god,
you just
Kim, talk to
figured
me.
Kim's gonna get this, and I need it. So
Yeah.
so there you go, guys. There's the weekly just the tip segment with Will. So
Well, if you
thank you, Will.
and if people do want a good Cybertruck tip, I will go back and still resay because I did it a couple days ago with my truck. The process for cleaning and washing the exterior. If you want just the simplest thing to remember, just do go over every panel with a cutting compound or with Barkeeper's Friend. Barkeeper's Friend works great. Use a water-free wash. Just go over and give it a once-over water-free wash, and then do 2 passes with Windex and paper towels, and cycle the towels as you're using them as they're contaminated. Because I would like my glass canopy to the Cybertruck still dirty because it's super dusty and windy right now, but the rest of the car looks absolutely like mirror shine fantastic. I'm actually really happy with it. So if you're still rocking a natty Cybertruck with no vinyl, just use a cutting compound, use a water-free wash, and then 2 rounds of Windex, ammonia-free Windex.
There you go. So now we just need to get that segment sponsored by Barkeeper's Friend or somebody else, and we'll be all good. We'll be all good.
Barkeeper's Friend is seeing such a spike in sales, and they're like,
Oh, I'm
"What
sure.
the hell is going on here?"
I'm sure it's just like COVID with toilet paper, right? All those toilet paper companies they're skyrocketing. Getting back into full self-driving a little bit, I wanted to show something that came up. If I click on it correctly, right here. So they were talking, I think it was last week, they were talking, Elon was commenting on X about full self-driving 12.4 possibly coming out this week, right? Don't think that's happened yet, Elon time. And Farzad made some comments, obviously, and down here, he was talking about the testing and 12.5, but in 12.5, they're now talking about us getting Cybertruck owners getting full self-driving in June.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's actually huge.
Hang on, but this is where the Tesla people who've been around for a while, the joke to be made is he didn't say June of what year.
I was gonna say it seems like 6 months too early, but yeah, from what I thought.
Right here, this is where I see it. So they're asking 20 hours ago. Matthew asked when Cybertruck FSD, and Elon says 12.5, which is in Elon time scheduled for June.
That could also just be a bullish statement, him trying to be like, yeah, by 12.5 it'll probably be there, or this, that, and the other thing, and then it's like, oh, maybe not. All right.
The interesting part, though, about all this is that why are we talking about full self-driving on the Cybertruck when we don't even have autopilot?
Good question. I mean, I would imagine that with the way that they like unified the stacks and put everything kind of under one software numbering system, it may just be the way that it works now that everything's kind of unified under the one thing.
Yeah, I would assume it's coming with it.
That's kind of, I think, where my point was that are they kind of getting away from autopilot and it's just kind of being bundled into full self-driving.
Makes sense. Yeah.
You
I mean, it's
know,
using the same software,
because
but not.
I believe if you go into the settings on the Cybertruck, if my memory serves me correct, I don't think there's anywhere that says Autopilot beta coming soon, but there is full self-driving beta or supervised coming soon.
Yeah.
So are they they're not even talking about it? Are they just Autopilot is really just a little small feature that's part of full self-driving?
I think it sounds more like it.
Yeah.
I think that they've probably I knowing, I think like 10 years ago when you showed people autopilot and you were like, yeah, you can maintain the lanes and it can actually change lanes and it'll take the exit ramp for you. Like a lot of those things years ago were really, really impressive. I mean, they were, because not a lot of other vehicles had it, but I feel like more vehicles have a lot more of those smart features now where maybe the autopilot feature is kind of like, hey guys, come buy our car. It has air conditioning. Like, we expect it of modern electrics or modern vehicles above a certain price point. So them trying to tout, hey guys, we have full self-driving and air conditioning. I'm wondering if they're trying to step more into the whole it's Tesla. Our
Yeah.
advantage is the full self-driving,
Yeah.
FSD. That's what you want. You're here for FSD, we're here for FSD, FSD. It's and it makes me think, they've been happy to kind of sunset versions where they're like, okay, there's no more navigate on autopilot. It's now part of enhanced autopilot, or there's an enhanced autopilot, and then there's the double extra enhanced autopilot, or whatever. Maybe they're just seeking to find that simplicity of being like, look, it's a suite of vehicle driving capability. We call it full self driving, and yeah, it has an enhanced autopilot version where it's not going to do anything too crazy. It's just a really impressive cruise control, but it would make sense. I would think that they would scale back because I mean, even I'm confused, and I've been here for a while. I'm confused with, okay, there's the enhanced autopilot, but then there's the not so enhanced autopilot. There's
Yeah.
the navigate, but then there's the full self drive, but there's a trial. Just
Yeah. Yeah. I
you
think
start
that's
trying
kind
to
of,
say all that to buyers, and they're like, just give me a car.
yeah, I think that's what they're doing. I think it's just kind of, there's no talk of Autopilot with the Cybertruck. I think it's going to be part of, like right now, Waves of Life is in our chat and he says Autopilot could be an interface with full self-driving being a single stack. So yeah, I think that's kind of
Yeah,
where they're going with it is just,
yeah,
it's part of the bundle. Full self-driving is what you really want and Autopilot's in there. So
yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, it's got cruise control. It's got cruise control so good that it'll take exits for you if you
mhm.
set up the nav and blah blah blah. But in the end, the thing that is supposed to really push Tesla ahead of the pack is like, higher autonomy, full self-driving.
Well, Tesla, I know we've been kind of harping on Tesla kind of self-imploding and having some, self-inflicted issues here. And they better get things cleaned up because if they don't, Rivian is on their heels because they are introducing a YouTube app to their vehicles. And,
Yep.
Tesla's got to be careful because
It's
now
the Google
YouTube's in
Cast that I'm most curious about. I want to see how the Google Cast is going to work. Um,
Yeah.
just because I mean, Tesla doesn't have a hotspot. The Rivians come with a hotspot with internet access right out of the gate. So I'm like, okay, so if everybody connects by Wi-Fi, then that's how you can do the Google Cast or Chromecast, which is something that the Teslas can't do. I'm like, okay, actually, that's a really kick-ass feature. I kind of like that. I
No,
like the cast ability.
I was joking, but it really is something that is going to be really great for the Rivian. And I love Rivians, so
Hmm.
I'm all about it. And it's good to see them kind of integrating and doing some of this integration with their vehicles. So this kind of gives you an example of the Google Cast uh,
Yeah,
and how they're planning on implementing that. So
you have to be parked. You can't be driving and watching it, obviously.
yes, so
Yeah, which is,
I
of course, and then add on to that, a week ago was, the rumor was that Apple is secretly like planning some sort of a connection with Rivian, and I'm like, Well, I wonder if that's gonna get. They're gonna kick YouTube off of it now, and Apple's like, sorry, we're
Yeah.
we're we're Tim Cook people now. We're Tim Apple.
Is that why their stock is like starting to come back alive?
Yeah, I think so. I think that it's the meme stock thing. Everybody's like, okay, we all hate Tesla enough. Let's
Yeah.
rally around Rivian, I guess. I don't know.
Let's,
Uh,
if anyone has deep values phone number, let me know. We'll
Yeah,
get
yeah,
get
exactly.
in on Rivian.
I'm gonna go post in Wall Street bets. Let's see what happens.
I'll take out a mortgage options.
Right?
I wanted to share some little crazy things that I've seen on the internet. This is a show and tell here. This was a school that said, drive anything except for a car to school.
Wait. Like legit though, I grew up in a small town in Indiana. We had drive your tractor to school day. Like this
Yeah.
is not crazy.
This is a thing.
This is
Yeah,
a thing.
Oh yeah,
Like,
here are the horses. Here comes the cavalry.
I just want to acknowledge this is like a perfect evolution
Oh
of
my
like anything
gosh.
but a car. It opens up, yeah, like horses. That's a great cool like
That is one
evolution of it.
Yeehaw High School for sure.
isn't
No,
that
sorry,
cool?
it's a yee yee.
Yee.
Yeah.
Try that in a small town.
So
love
I'm
it.
gonna do rapid fire here, but there's that. Here's a supercharger.
Oh yeah, this is old but good.
What the hell?
He jumps out of the car and throws a flashbang at the Tesla. Like what? What?
Well, what's the point? Like, what? What's the point of
Obviously,
this?
some type of sting or whatever's going on. I
Oh,
mean, he threw the
jeez.
flashbang on the roof. It goes off, and then he draws his
Uh-huh.
weapon. Yeah, that's
Wow.
insane.
It's wild.
And the
And
guy never
then
even gets out of the truck. Oh man. All right.
and then I tow now I'm towing with the Cybertruck, and so my biggest fear with I don't really have range anxiety, but my biggest fear is showing up to a Tesla Supercharger and this happening.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
So I wanted to share this as well. I that's my biggest fear. Me showing up, I'm like white knuckling it, going, "Oh my gosh, I'm about to run out of range." And I have this
No.
trailer and my kids and my family, and I show up to the Supercharger, and this is what I find.
I love the comment. Anybody know how much you can get for all that copper?
You'd probably be really disappointed by how little you get for that copper that's just in those leads.
I never thought about it though, but I always wondered why those supercharger cables were so freaking short. But maybe that's the case, because if they were longer, they would be more tempting for people to steal them for the copper.
Yeah. I think it's the longer makes them a bigger liability. They're laying on the ground more easily run over. And then I would imagine that just like the line loss, you do a longer cable and lose more voltage to inefficiency or heat.
Yeah. Because I've seen people actually with the tow hitch not be able to get back far enough because of whatever obstructions there to be able to plug in. So yeah, it's definitely a concern.
100%. I think I told you guys on one of the episodes I had issues a few times with the Cybertruck not fitting in some of these supercharger locations and having to park sideways just to charge. It happened to me in Santa Barbara, and it happened to me in Northern California somewhere. So yeah, Cybertrucks aren't made for some superchargers.
And also, I would also want to point out this. I mean, those superchargers, those are the original stalls. Those are the original supercharger designs. And I feel like it's been something that's been cool, but I think that it was a novelty in the beginning, being like, oh, cool, you can plug in a car and charge here like really fast at high voltage. That's amazing. But I mean, let's be honest. That design is wildly inefficient.
Yeah.
They take up space. They don't protect the cords or anything like that. There's so many videos of people backing over or bumping into the stalls and displacing them or breaking them. I mean, part of me is kind of like, yeah, cut them. Go put in a better design. Do something. I don't know.
Well, I mean, gas stations aren't designed like that for a reason. Like the pull through is worked for quite a long time, ever since the not Model T, but ever since gas stations were started. But I think that would be kind of an interesting take, especially with Tesla kind of ramping down supercharging internal production, at least if there would be an outside partner, like maybe 7-Eleven, just to name one of like partnering up with Tesla to be like, okay, this is a 7-Eleven gas station, but it's superchargers only.
Mm-hmm.
I think
That
that start to see that kind of proliferate a little bit more.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And you know what? There's let me see, give me a little second here. There's a company out here, there you go, in Southern California that's doing something similar to that. Let me get that pulled up here. And so right here, so they're called Rove Charging, and what they're wanting to do, they're actually doing, is they're building these these charging stations, places where you can eat and shop and charge up. And I know that they have one that's under construction right now, and I believe Costa Mesa. Oh, here it is, right here. And this is the progress so far. So they have the solar panel canopies already installed, and yeah, that's kind of their whole plan, is to have these, kind of like what you're saying, like a 7-Eleven, but it's not branded 7-Eleven, but these full
I have wondered,
service
like,
electric vehicle
there's
charging stations.
out in my neighborhood, or sorry, out near me, there's a city market, kind of like it's just like a food court, but it's like not like, it's not like Sbarro and Nathan's. It's like a bunch of different small restaurant owners that have set up little booths in this little thing. And I've kind of wondered why somebody hasn't hit the ground running with that, where it's like, gas stations, the pull through lends itself to the efficiency of you pull in, gas up, 5 minutes later, you're gone, you're on the road. People have this imagination or this vision of EVs still being like, you need to pull in somewhere and you charge for 6 hours, and that's your
Mm-hmm.
life. It's
Yeah.
and it's like there's something in between that you guys aren't being honest about, and it's not 5 minutes, but it sure as hell ain't 6 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And it requires people to be there for a hot minute, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, depending on what your battery state is. And that's, I feel like in the marketing world, that's a captive audience. You've got people's attention. So the fact that somebody hasn't, I mean, the fact that Bucky's did it by bringing charging to Bucky's shows you the viability of, okay, so now somebody else should bring charging to more places and do it as a service that you want to use. Because right now, gas stations are like, oh, this gas station has a McDonald's in it. That's cool. Or this gas station has part of a Wendy's or something like that. Why there isn't just hey, there's a 50 stall charger. It also has like 20 different restaurants and a couple little shops and, just whatever, like strip malls, mini malls, all that stuff. They used to be a part, the goal was commerce. And nowadays I'm kind of like, the goal should be charging and giving people something to do in the meantime, giving people commerce on the side. So
It's funny because I was going to bring up Bucky's if you didn't bring up Bucky's, but surely for the fact of like I can sit in a gas car at the pump and easily spend more than 20 minutes than it would be to charge.
yeah,
Like if anything, actually, when was it? It was last year sometime. There's a Bucky's just south of Austin, down in New Braunfels, that has the superchargers there. We parked, got it, started the charging, walked into the Bucky's. About halfway through our whole like Bucky's spiel, I had to like go run out and leave because the charging was done, and I didn't want to get charged like idle fees,
yeah,
which is not like a typical like Bucky's run. So like honestly, the cars sitting at the gas pumps are much longer than even what is needed at the EV charging station. So
yeah.
I think that's probably also why they have 100 pumps too, so they can deal with the idle downtime.
Yeah, and that's something, and that's good to consider because yeah, people have this ideal version of what their gas stop looks like.
Mhm.
And it's like it's 3 minutes in and out.
Yeah.
The kids have peed. Everybody has like there's no snacks. No snacks have happened. Like we got in the car and we left. And it's like
Yeah.
most people's real life experiences. 5 minutes gassing up, 5 minutes finding out where the
15,
kids are,
20 minutes.
10 minutes finding a toilet stall that isn't just like looks like the most awful thing ever. Just unless it's Bucky's. Bucky's is
Yeah, I was gonna
pristine.
say not at Bucky's
Bucky's is
though.
like hour plus,
Not
like
not
minimum.
yeah.
Yeah, because I did the trip in January. I drove the Model 3 from here in Austin out to LA, and I was very aware of like each stop and how long it took. And
Mhm.
yeah, it was honestly anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes each stop, and for the most part there was always something to do out in kind of the really far stretches of I-10. There was some not so good stops. Like one was in the back of a motel. There was one that was attached to another hotel. Those were no fun because you literally just you could use the hotel bathroom and that's it, and sit and watch YouTube. That's pretty much it. But I will give props to El Paso. El Paso had the best charging station between here and LA. And they put it in a parking lot of a Starbucks right between Starbucks and Whataburger, and a bunch of
hell
other
yeah.
restaurants and stuff. So shout out to El Paso. Way to go.
Shout
I
out
don't
to
know why you didn't
Whataburger.
like the back of a motel. I think that would have been very entertaining.
I didn't plan ahead.
If
No.
if you
Sure,
guys
there was
ever
a
get a
lot to
chance,
see there.
hang on. If you drive on I-5 from LA to San Francisco, there's a stop somewhere along the way. I can't remember the name of the town. I can look it up. But it's the charging. So it's like 10 Tesla Superchargers behind a place that's known for split pea soup. I want to say it's
Oh
like
yeah,
the Peterson's, I think,
yeah,
split
yeah,
pea soup or whatever. Yeah.
yeah,
That and that like that's your option. That's it. It's the split pea soup place and some busted looking hotels. And
yeah. My dad loves the split pea soup there. Just
I
so you know.
all right. Well, shout out to
So
your
there
dad.
you
I
there you
got
go,
a beer.
Dad.
I got a beer. We're good.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, but I think that that's kind of a cool indicator because it's like that's the past. That was the whole Tesla desperately trying to hide superchargers out there, and now we're here talking about, oh yeah, there's going to be a 100-stall drive-in theater with people on skates
Right.
bringing you burgers and stuff. I'm like, yeah, this is kind of the thing that I've been waiting for battery electric vehicle adoption to reach, where now businesses are going to start like Rove. They're going to start looking at it being like, okay, how do we get people to stop looking for charging stations and looking for our station? How do we get people
Yeah.
to look for us? And
And
that's smart.
you're 100% right, because Rove, what they want to do is like a gas station, putting them on corners, not in the back of buildings or
Yeah.
behind a Wendy's or whatever the case may be. They're putting them on the corners. They're showcasing them, and they're saying, "Stop here and get a bite to eat, shop, whatever the case may be." But
Yeah.
they're putting it in your face. They're saying, "Here, we're a charging station.
Yeah.
We're okay with that."
And there's finally a large enough fleet of cars to kind of predicate them to be like, okay, there's enough money in this market to capture if we take it seriously. So let's start taking it seriously.
Exactly.
I just thought about idle fees that came up. I hope the software is smart enough to do this, but I wonder if idle fees are just straight based off of like time of day, or if it's really based off demand. Because I noticed the other day that it shows you if you're in navigation to charging station, it also shows you how many others Teslas are also currently navigating to that station.
Mm-hmm.
So it would make more sense to take that into account for idle fees. So like say your entire all bays are locked up. Idle fees don't kick in until someone is en route. So you know that, hey, you are taking up a space that a person actively is en route to go, and that's when those fees kind of take place. Because that's my only gripe. Like I wanna sit there, but I also don't want to have to like babysit it, because it does. It in my opinion, just doesn't take that long unless you're going like up to 100%. If you're just
And
doing a quick charge, it's pretty quick.
in my opinion, I think that some of those problems will be resolved when we start seeing things like actually smart summon happen, where if you can have a parking lot where you can tell your car, okay,
Yeah.
disconnect from the I mean, obviously, actually
Auto-
decoupling the charger
yeah.
is the problem, but beyond that, be like, yeah, tell the car to just go, go park somewhere else, and I'll find it in a minute.
Great.
Those are the kind of things, because I think that I want to say like several years ago, Tesla didn't enforce the idle fees as heavily. I want to say that the
Yeah.
charging location had to be at 50% capacity or higher before they would actually hit you with the idle fees. Otherwise, they would just warn you, you may accrue idle fees if this place gets
Okay.
busy. And I think nowadays, they're just like, you've got 5 minutes, and then you're going to get idle fees. You're going to get them hit.
Yeah, like $1 per minute. It's just crazy.
Yeah, no, I agree that there should be some type of smarts behind that. I like that idea of when it knows people are coming, hey, you need to get out of here, because
Yeah.
I've been in that same boat where you're inside on a road trip and you're eating and you're looking and, oh, okay, alerts you, you're almost fully charged, and I'm running out to go move it because I don't want to get hit with those idle fees. So
Yeah.
I'm sure at some point they'll implement that, or they won't, and they'll just go, that's how we make a few extra bucks. So I wanted to share something that I am extremely excited about, and I'm hoping to get some access to, and that is the Cyber Trailer.
Yeah.
This is something that the company Living Vehicle, um, I don't want to say fully announced, because I know they said they were going to do an unveiling or an announcement this week, which I don't think has happened yet. But nonetheless, they've made an announcement, I guess, for the Cyber Trailer. They kind of give a little bit of details, but you can kind of see what the trailer is going to look like. It's inspired by the Cybertruck. For those that don't know, Living Vehicle is a manufacturer of travel trailers. They're kind of higher end, a little bit more expensive. Not a little bit more expensive. They're expensive. $300,000-$400,000 for a travel trailer, but they're smart. They have batteries in them. They're EV travel trailers, and this is their Cybertruck inspired version. One of the things that I'm pretty excited about is the fact that it's 100% solar powered. It's Cybertruck towable, as they say, electric vehicle towable. You can have unlimited water from air creation and recycling. And the cool thing about this, which I haven't seen on one of these EV travel trailers, is the fact that it has a folding patio or gear hauler ramp in the rear, which is exciting because right now I'm towing my travel trailer with my Cybertruck, and I also have a golf cart that I typically would take on my camping trips, and I would just, with ramps, put that in the back of my 8-foot bed on my Ram. I no longer have the Ram because I'm going all in with the Cybertruck. Cybertruck bed cannot fit my golf cart. So something like this, if it is going to have that ramp in the back, and if I'm able to fit my golf cart, it gives me that ability to take my golf cart with me on my camping trips. So this is something that I know I'm super excited about. I don't know if anybody could tell that, but I think this is something that's cool for the RV industry. I've told this to other RV manufacturers that I feel like the RV space has been real stagnant for a very long time, and Tesla, I think, being disrupting the car industry, has now translated over to the RV industry, because now they have the Cybertruck, which is a truck. They want you to go tow, and now the RV industry is trying to catch up to that and going, okay, what can we do to help those EV owners with the ability to either have motors on the axles, to have self-propulsion to help you get more range, or having batteries on their trailers to where you can actually use those batteries to charge your EV to extend your trips, and not having to really worry about stopping into superchargers or finding a supercharger. So wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, two things with that. I think, yeah, having like a spare battery and the capability
Yes.
to charge up, that honestly would solve an issue that I'm looking at right now. What I was telling you guys about, we're looking to go out to Big
Yes.
Bend, and if we wanted to go camp at Big Bend with the Cybertruck, that's going to be more challenging in itself. But something like this, if we could go out to the site, camp, charge the truck off of the trailer to get back up, and then go out, that really increases the range and the capability of what we can do. The other thing that came to mind is regen braking on these trailers would be really clutch to be able to recharge the battery that's on board.
Exactly.
Because I feel like that would happen a lot, especially with towing.
Well, like,
I'm
go ahead,
I'm
Will.
saying I'm not much. I don't know much about these trailers. I mean, everything, technology stuff like this always seems really cool. So I mean, I'm not familiar with the pitfalls and desires for most people for what they have. I mean, I think I started looking at them just for fun a couple of years ago, and it's like I'm still kind of shocked how simple they are. All these
Yes.
trailers, it's like just a box. And I'm like, do they have power? Like, people are like, some of them.
AC, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there's an AC. And I'm like, do they have solar panels? Do they have anything? And I'm like, people are like, yeah, see, you can add solar panels if you want. And eventually I just kind of hit a point where like, okay, but like, has nobody been like, hey, here's some really cool stuff that
Exactly.
we decided to do with these,
Yeah.
Exactly. And
I'll,
that's
I'll,
that.
I'll, I'm looking at this thing being like, there should be like I'm looking at it being like, there should be like a 50 kilowatt hour battery somewhere inside of that.
Yeah.
Just take an old Model 3 battery from a salvage vehicle, put it in the bottom or something like that, and then bam, you've got your 50 kilowatt hour battery that you could recharge your truck from, run the house, all that kind of stuff. But and that's just me looking at it for 2 seconds, being like, hey, what would be cool? I got to imagine people who live with these vehicles and work with them. They've got to have a laundry list of stuff that it's like, here's the 21st century stuff I want in one of these trailers.
Yeah. I think we're seeing just kind of the evolution of when the Cybertruck first was announced, then it seemed like all the automakers were taking EV trucks seriously, and this is kind of like the evolution of that, like you were saying. We're even seeing it now with more off-road capability with EVs. Like Ford's working on their EV Raptor version of the Lightning, so I mean it's definitely getting there. My only big worry was the Cyber trailer. It said it was advertising starting at 175, which is odd because this is their base model, which starts at 300.
Yes.
Whoa.
That's
Yeah.
my question.
Yeah. This is a $300,000 travel trailer right here, and yes, the Cyber trailer's 175. So it's expensive, but they're. See, the thing is, and that's what Will was talking about, is the RV industry has been so stagnant. It's everything. A lot of it is compressed woods and cheap materials and all this, and that's the reason why you're able to get something for $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, is because cheaply made. Um,
Right.
when you're buying one of these trailers, now obviously this is very expensive, but you're getting premium materials. You're getting handmade. I just released a tow video today with a company called Bolus, and everything, 70% of their parts are made in-house. And that's unheard of in the RV industry. There's these RV supply companies that they'll sell you all their prefab cabinetry, and that's why when you go into these trailers, they all look the same because they're the same. Everything comes from the same companies, and they're just throwing them in. And somebody like Living Vehicle, Bolus, and others, they're making all of these parts themselves, or it's all higher end. And talking about the batteries, I mean, for this one, this is the HD24. I mean, it has 72,000 watt hours of lithium energy batteries.
Yeah, 72 kilowatt hour battery. Okay, that's good.
72, yeah. So, and obviously there's different configurations, and it gets more expensive. It's a added cost to your trailer, but you can get a 72 kilowatt hour battery in there, and that's huge, right? That's
Literally.
huge.
30
So
days off grid. That's great.
yeah, and so like what you were talking about, Chase, of going to on a potential camping trip, but there's an issue of charging, right? There's what the closest charging stations, how far from where you're
90.
trying to go?
Yeah, the closest supercharging is 95 miles away from Big Bend, which creates kind of a conundrum. It's like, okay, that's at
Exactly.
least 180 miles off road. Well, on road, but some of it will be off road. So
Yeah.
definitely consideration.
Yeah, exactly. And so this, you're 100% right. You're able to get this. You can get to your destination. You could then plug your Cybertruck into this, charge, get some of that energy back, and then because it has all this solar power, you're recharging the RV batteries. So it's like a never-ending cycle,
Whole
right?
battery.
You can kind of just keep going, and that's where I'm really excited, because it's like I said, um, when you go places, you boondock and you do these different adventures, which I do with my travel trailer, but I don't have these type of features, and so I'm really, really excited about this. Um, Living Vehicle is actually going to be at the Electrify Expo here in Long Beach at the end of the month. I'm planning on going because I want to talk to them. I've already reached out to them. We've already exchanged emails back and forth. So hopefully I'm going to get some access to this at some point. So really excited about that. So wanted to share that with you guys because I'm excited. Lastly, We have our 2 segments that we do every week, which are the wrap of the week, which I found this one. We all agreed that this would be our wrap of the week, which
Ooh,
I love. I love that blue color, number one, but
Yeah.
I love how they did that two-tone.
yeah, it looks nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen a couple different examples of two-toning, and I think this is probably the better one of all of them.
Yeah. It's like a softness to it and then a harshness. It's a good balance. It's a good design overall. I like it.
Yeah, it makes that blue pop, I think, having
Yeah.
that black up
And
top.
then they still brought out the Foundation Series logo.
Yeah.
Yeah. They probably spent more on those wheels than they did the wrap. Ooh.
Those are your buddies, T Sportline. So
I know. Where's my light bar?
that was the wrap of the week. I know that we wanted to talk about a gentleman. I believe you met him, right, Chase? Josh.
Yeah, we talked. Yeah, Josh Leadoff.
So, real quick, here's Josh's Instagram profile.
Yeah.
He's done a lot of crazy stuff. He's an artist in Austin, right?
Yep. I believe he's based here. I know he's worked with a couple of things here in Austin, but specifically this Lamborghini you're looking at. This is ATX Lambo on Instagram. He
Okay.
did the design for this wrap, and he's looking to wrap a Cybertruck very similar to this, but in gold. So if you are in
Yeah.
the market for a wrap and you wouldn't mind going with something most unique, then definitely we'll see what you got.
Yeah, so that's actually really cool. I mean, it's different, right? It's definitely different. If you're looking for something a little wild, that would be it. But yeah, so that's a artist out in Texas. That's, if there's anybody out there that wants to get a crazy wrap and work with somebody that has this artistic view, then reach out to Josh.
Yeah, reach out to Josh directly, or even if you would hit me up as well on socials. That's fine as well if you have any other questions. CyberTruck
And
ATX.
there you go. I was going to ask you what your Instagram was. And then lastly, what the heck were they thinking? Right? So we have this guy right here who went to a local hardware store. Looks like he bought some 2x4s or 4x4, can't really tell. Decided to put the straps on his wheels for some weird reason.
And then it looks like it's attached, but not before destroying the side of his truck.
I think that is Whistling Diesel. It looks like him.
I mean, yeah, they got camera angles of people watching, like looky-loos at Lowe's.
That's crazy.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you never know with the internet nowadays, right?
But no, it's like I think that there's a number of points here that's worth looking at. One, the videos of people who put the ratchet straps through the rear door windows and then they can't open the rear doors because it's strapped in if they're putting a mattress on the roof. Or, I mean, and this is from Cybertruck owners worth coming back being like, because everybody's always like, oh, you got a Cybertruck, you can't do truck stuff with that. That ain't a real truck. And it's like, well, here's a real truck, and here's what somebody did with it. So, people make mistakes with all sorts of vehicles because they don't have a fundamental understanding of anything beyond the passenger vehicles that they've ridden in. So it's a worthy admission. I accept it.
And this killed me when I first seen it, just because that's a beautiful truck.
Yeah.
They just ruined. Oh man. So that is what were they thinking?
Yeah, don't secure your freaking ratchet straps to the wheels, guys.
Definitely not. So, I mean, do you guys have anything else? Anything you guys want to plug? Anything coming up that you guys are going to be attending, or people could come out and say hello?
There's one event coming up on the horizon that I sadly won't be at, but I am very excited to see. My lovely wife and I, we have an anniversary the same day, so I will not be there, but I will be celebrating with my wife.
Smart move. Very smart.
Move. Very smart.
Good man.
But if you're interested, I know I shared it on my socials. There's what do they call it? I need to send it to you. The CyberTruck Rodeo. Oh shoot. Yeah, I shared it on my.
Let me try to find you here.
Sorry, I should have queued it up before I said it. If you look at my stories, you can see there. There's a link in the stories as well. quite a few sponsors, but it's going to be here in Central Texas. It's going to be in Gatesville, Texas, at Dove Nest, which is kind of like an off-road park. They're going to close down the entire park for as many Cybertrucks as we possibly can get. So if you're looking forward to putting that new off-road mode to the test, I would definitely take a look at this and see and make plans to make it. But yeah, Sunday, June 2nd. It's going to be really fun. It's going to be a lot of big Cybertruck owners out there, especially around Austin, that I know are going up. Super excited to see all the photos and images that come out of that. So yeah,
it looks like a lot of fun.
In the meantime, we're planning a trip to Big Bend, so I can equally get some off-road time in. Because I don't know if you guys have tried the off-road update since it's come out, but I
have not.
I ripped through some gravel recently, and it feels a little tighter. I'll say that. It feels like, the diff locking is definitely a big difference, even just on gravel. Before the update, it felt a lot more loose, and that's kind of the best way I could even explain it. It's like I could just hit the pedal really quickly and get the back to kind of scoot out, and then kind of have fun with it. But now it's a little bit more. I have to give it before I can let that back swivel.
No, I've been dying to get out and do some off-roading, and I actually been in conversation with a YouTuber content creator named Cobra, and
nice.
We've been talking about possibly getting out and just doing some off-roading, but I know him and I were talking, neither one of us have any experience. He has a Cybertruck as well, so that's the thing, is we're talking about doing a video of us going out and doing some off-roading, but then what happens if two Cybertruck owners get stuck, and that'll be viral, right?
Yeah,
People...
that's what you gotta plan for. You don't want to be another video of a Cybertruck stuck in the beach.
You don't want to be on next week's What Were They Thinking?
Exactly.
Exactly. But it'll be fun. I'm excited to see. I think, the Cybertruck Radio event would be a safe way to do that, because there's going to be plenty of people out there to get you unstuck if you do get stuck. So that's all good. And it's not too technical either. It's pretty flat-ish out there. There's another place that I've talked about that I really want to go out here that's more rocky and technical, that you will mess up your truck if you're not careful. So that's something awesome I'm looking to experience here soon. Not messing up the truck, but going out there and seeing it.
Yep. Sounds good.
Cool.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for everybody that tuned in. We appreciate you guys, all of our regulars, Jay, Hugo, Ben. We thank you guys for tuning in every week, and for all of you others, we look forward to meeting you guys and you guys joining us every week. So,
yeah,
thank you so much. All right.